Well, I caught a little piece of fish, so need something to make with fish. And I said sweet potato, like a croquette. It's going to be gluten free. So we have nice fresh fish, whatever kind you like. And you can make this a couple of ways, but I'm going to do it by hand because a lot of people don't have certain machines. So we'll do it this way. But if you have a mandolin or Cuisinart, you can pulse the stuff in there to chop it up after you cut it up like this and in quarters, then throw it in, and the fish just dice up very small pieces and just mix it in later with the shallots and egg to hold it together. Almonds, toasted slivered almonds to give it a little crunch, scallions for color and taste, and mango to give it a unique flavor. Brown rice flour, because it's gluten free, I'll be using. And we're not going to bread this item. It's going to be just pressed into the flour and then sauteed in olive oil. So let me finish setting this up, the cutting part of it. Now that everything is cut up, which took me a little while, and you see the sweet potato, the garlic, the shallots, the scallions are in there, sliced very thin, as you can see. And then we're going to add the finely minced up mango, and you see how finely diced the fish is, and 1 teaspoon of salt into the mix. You know what I find in a lot of places where I work, we go in, the caterer goes in, and I taste the food of the establishment, what they make. And some of these places are well known, and I find that many of them just fail to season the food enough. Now, it's one thing when you're cooking for yourself, you don't have to season if you don't want to. But when you're cooking for other people, you want the food to taste good. And of course I didn't throw out the bones from the fish. There happened to be a crab, a blue crab with it. So I'm simmering up the blue crab with the fish bones, and I will be saving that for an upcoming event in my house where I'll make something and use that stock. Now this you can taste raw, because you could eat fish raw, so we're going to taste this for the salt content. And I'm going to put in there sriracha hot sauce. This you put in as much as you want. But for an item like this, I think you should have a little kick to it. Especially if you want to use it like as an appetizer. You can make small ones. And I didn't make a sauce for this because I want to taste it. And I think the mango is going to give it its usually you put a sauce because the item might be a little dry. So I think the mango is going to help keep this nice and moist. Okay, that 1 egg was enough, hopefully. And if not, as I make a little test of this, I'll make adjustments. And since it's gluten-free, I'm using brown rice flour. There are other ones you could use, garbanzo, soy, but I just grabbed this one, and I think the texture is a little better. Soy may be a little too light for it. If I had some corn flour, I would have used it, but I didn't find any, so. And I'm going to add a little more flour. Taste this mix for the salt. Good. Then I'll make a test run, which you won't see, and then I'll make changes in this because you know these recipes I do on the fly, so it comes out perfect. Just hang in there. So let's see how this little test piece is doing. Nice. Got a little crunchiness on the outside. That's good. So after I taste this, then I'm going to take my larger scoop and scoop it in there, press them down. That way everyone will be exact same size. And we're not coating the outside with anything. I beefed up the amount of rice flour for the binding part of it, and that looks pretty good, so we'll continue after I taste that. Let's see how this is. It's staying together. The bottom is softer than the top, and when we make these, you can't cook them too fast because you have to give the sweet potato a chance to cook through. So I'm taking this off, and I'm cooking in olive oil. You can cook in whatever you like. If you're going to cook in butter, make sure that the butter is clarified butter, or else it's going to be brown, very brown. And if you don't know how to make clarified butter, what you do is melt the butter first, pour it into something narrow. You take a stick, pour it into something narrow, and you see the milky part on top. Just try and take that off, and then you see the clearer part. That's the part you use, but don't go down to the bottom where it's the milky part. That's the part that burns. So we're going to taste this. Very hot. I'm going to put a drop more salt. No, I'm not. A little more hot sauce. And we're going to start making these. And I'll take my big scoop, ice cream scoop. Put this flame like low, like so. Because like I said, you want the sweet potatoes to cook. So I'll just go like so. Put it in. You don't have to put a lot in there, because what you do now is flatten them down a little. And remember, not too high a flame. You want it to cook through. So how do you do this? Alright, just let it cook. Check the bottom in about 5-6 minutes. If it's nice golden brown like the first little one I made, then turn it over. It's not going to fall apart. Do the same thing to the other side, and then we're done. Now if you really need a sauce for this, you can make any kind of dipping sauce that you like. Whether it be a tomato based or a mayonnaise based or an Asian type of dipping sauce. You want to pour a little just teriyaki over it. Whatever you like, but I'm eating them plain like this. So I will just raise, if you notice there's no bubbles like the oil is cooking, because now it's a little bit too low. So we'll just go a little bit higher, not much. Come back in 5 minutes and check this. Well, let's see how we're doing. It smells like it's browning. It has that aroma. That's okay. Nice. Now, if you don't want this type of look, everything could be ground up finer, and you won't have this pieces falling off. But then you won't also have the look that this has. So I'm happy with this. It has that rough look about it. We'll let this brown, and then we'll set up a plate and look at it. If you notice the flame, it's not high. Let it cook through, get the golden brown color, which it has. So now these are done, and what I did was I took the remainder of the mix, because it's a pain in the neck to work it with it like this. I'll just take these off. And we will, I took my cleaver and I chopped up the mix so it's a little smoother now. Make it easier for everybody. As you can see, you don't have those pieces of potato sticking out. Just makes it a little bit easier. So that's 4, and that's 4, that's 8. So it looks like we're going to have about 10. And make sure you use a non-stick pan. Now we get a more uniform look, presentation-wise. Taste-wise, it won't make a difference. Which means I could eat one of these now. Too hot. Anyway. I'll brown these off, then make a plate. See how nice it looks. Well, I'm happy to say that I like this a lot, because I just ate 2 of the patties that I made, which I wasn't supposed to do. And what's nice about this, you know, when you eat those patties or croquettes, don't you find that most of them are made of breadcrumbs? Which is disgusting that they do that, especially the ones with crab meat, because you know that if you want to have a couple of crab cakes, they can't cost you $7 like on some menus, or $8 or $9. The only place you're going to get a good crab cake is you spend $20, because then you'll have real crab meat in there and less breadcrumbs. Anyway, as soon as this browns, I'll put it on a plate and we'll look at it again. Okay, these should be done. It's about 6-7 minutes. They feel firm. That means they should be brown on the bottom. Good. So there's 1. Oh, what happened to the 4 that were on that plate? Guess. So I have to save these 4 for dinner, as our appetizer tonight when my wife gets back. So we have those. So that made 8. And I think we're going to have 2 more out of this mix. Hopefully. That would be nice. One, 2, and a baby one. Okay, just press them down nice and easy. Tuck that in. And the last one. Okay, so now you know the recipe will yield 10 of these patties. So that means 5 people can have an appetizer. And if you're using it for main course, I would give 4 per person. And let's now put it on a plate. And see what we can come up with for presentation, because looks mean a lot. So we have 2 for appetizer. And we'll put a piece of mango, and some scallions on top. And there you go. You do not need sauce with this, believe me. I just ate 4 of them and they were just fine. So then we got the croquette or the patty as an appetizer, and give 4 for a main course, and I hope you enjoy it.